Welcome back, everybody, or anybody, um, to another talking video. I think it's been a little bit. Actually, I don't even know. My memory's so shot some days. um, but a little bit different. Today we'll be talking about Tokyo Ghoul chapter and should Tokyo Ghoul be in DBD? I want to say yes, right off the bat. In my opinion, I think it does, and I think it's been done pretty good. But I'll probably get into that a little bit later. Mainly, I've just been seeing a couple discussions in the community and just people voicing, their opinions. I was like, I voiced my opinion. I think, I think he did good and like really good job on translating Kanki, I feel, to the game. Especially look-wise. Like, he looks like Kanki, but doesn't look like out of place, in my opinion, to the game. But been seeing some complaints, so I just thought I'd give my opinion on it and kind of go through and just kind of talk about like why I think it does fit in DBD and all of that. Since some of the complaints I've been seeing have been Tokyo Ghoul doesn't fit the aesthetic and horror of DBD is some stuff I've seen, and that also Kanki's character it doesn't fit for him to be on the killer side, and those have been kind of like the two big ones that I've seen personally. So I just kind of thought, and with that, getting to the aesthetic and horror of the whole thing is, in my opinion, I think it does fit. One, we've already had anime/manga collabs with the AOT and the Junji Ito collab. Did the Junji Ito come out? I think it did. Actually, don't know. I don't have any of the collabs because your boy's broke. But I think it came out. But we already have those, and they're horror. I mean, Junji Ito is just like the horror dude for manga and that kind of work. And the AOT, horror. I mean, giant monster people eating, regular people, and also living under a fascist government. That's pretty horrifying. So and those fit. And I would say even like I feel like Tokyo Ghoul probably fits better than like even AOT, and looks better than the Survivor cosmetics for AOT. The killer ones are good, but they still like I would say those look more out of place compared to Kanki and the Tokyo Ghoul cosmetics that we're getting. But so for a stack, I think it's like since we already had anime manga, having like full blown chapter, like it makes sense, opens more possibilities, down the line for horror, properties for DBD, especially with what we got with AOT, Junji Ito, and now Tokyo Ghoul. And another thing with this day, Trickster is literally a K-pop star. Like, so I feel like it's not that out of place for like an anime/manga, chapter after that, or his survivor, Yunjin, being his producer. And I hope I said her name right. I'm not sure if I did. I think I did. I'm not sure though. Editor will probably correct me if I did or not, and tell me how awful I am at names. But so for static wise, I think it fits. I would say it probably fits more than even the other collabs. Maybe not to Junji Ito because that was pretty good, but definitely fits more. And so far looks more than the AOT. And with the horror, since this is all like one point, the horror, like DBD is already a combination of different horrors. Like we already got like Alien, Singularity, so like sci-fi, space. We have the slashers with like Freddy, Michael, And then like we also have like body horror with Dredge and Unknown. So like there's already several different kinds of horror. So with it being like, oh, it doesn't fit the horror of DBD, I think it's just doesn't really make sense to me when DBD has already been a mix of different horror, you know? More of just like a love letter of just horror in general. Um and like Tokyo Ghoul is horror. Like it's not the most like I don't think you say it's like, oh, it's horror at its main focus, but it's still horror. I mean, ghouls are, you know, these people that have to eat humans to literally survive and all that, and the Kaganes, the Kakujas, some body horror, uh, and just some moments in the first series, since that's the Conky we're getting is only from Tokyo Ghoul and not Tokyo Ghoul Re, which I hope though we do get some cosmetics for. Give me Heise Man and give me Black Reaper. Come on. But like moments from there, like Conky's torture scene, I would say fits horror. Rize being like the Dr. Kano's lab and Rize being there and being alive and being like constantly harvest her organs constantly harvested to, you know, create other half ghouls with her Kagane and stuff. And then like the whole process of creating half ghouls, artificial half ghouls, since there are natural ones. We see one, but like I would say those are pretty horror, and would really fit, especially Conky's character for how tragic it is. I think definitely fits with the kind of backstories we gotten before in DBD for both Killer and Survivor. And to the Conky's character doesn't fit his character to be on the Killer side. I think he could fit both. It makes sense at points for him to be on the Killer side, and then points for him to not be on, you know, be on the Survivor side. And it's like with Conky, yeah, he's, you know, good or morally great person in the series, other stuff, but still tends, you know, be a good person kind of. There are points, you know, with Conky being mentally unstable and other stuff that would fit really well with the Killer side, with like white hair Conky, like right after his torture, which is Conky gang. So he's mentally unstable. The entity already, you know, we know will fuck with the Killers, are the ones that, you know, aren't willingly going along with it. Already fucks with them to make sure that they go along. So, like, with that in mind, it makes sense that a Conky right after torture getting taken by an entity, probably still getting messed with, his mind's already unstable. Like, that Conky fits to be, you know, as a killer. Or, like, regular original Conky with him, you know, being a survivor. Or Heise Sasuke being a survivor. Like, it would fit still, I think. And in my opinion, if there was like a full chapter, so like a Killer Survivor, I wish we were getting a map, because I think there could be a really cool Tokyo Ghoul map. So I'm a little sad on that. But like if it was full chapter, I could definitely see it being have him as Survivor and maybe someone else as Killer, like Rize as like the full blown Killer, or you know, someone else like that. I could definitely see it, but since it's just him, it makes sense to have him as the Killer. And I think it fits with what we're getting for lore wise. And then with them and also with them working with the production committee, which I just the author at this point with how long DBD, you know, has been done for, but them working alongside to do like kind of like a take of Conky going down a darker path and becoming like a monster more. You know, I think it's good, especially since they're working with the other person. And those are just kind of like the complaints I've seen and my opinions on those. Like, I can get why you not want to see Kanki as a killer. Like I said, if it was full chapter, I would love to see him as a survivor, or Toka as a survivor. But with just a killer chapter, it makes sense that he would be, since, you know, he's the main character of Tokyo Ghoul. He's, you know, the person that people would know from Tokyo Ghoul. So it just makes sense. And I think they've done good with him. For lore-wise, of why he's on the killer side. And like I said, the aesthetic and horror of DBD has always been kind of a little mix mash of stuff. And I think Tokyo Ghoul fits right in alongside it. Even better than maybe some other stuff. So, like I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Trickster, mainly because I hate going against him. But like I would say, I feel like Kanki probably fits DBD more than, you know, him, or and stuff. But you know, and you know, while I'm here, I'll just give my thoughts on the powers and perks of him, just some other stuff, since, you know, we're here, why not, right? So for the power, it looks fun for both sides. The high mobility looks really easy kind of to use and kind of get used to. But from what I've kind of seen and kind of know of some stuff, it definitely also seems like there's room to, you know, improve and kind of master and kind of, you know, do more higher level plays on him. He looks fun to go against. I think high mobility killers can be pretty fun to go against. They can also be hell, but he is DBD, so literally everything can be soul crushing hell. So that's nothing new. But he doesn't look overpowered. So like if you like Blight, or even Wesker, you know, sometimes it can be like really not over, like kind of feel a little bit overpowered, especially how good they are. Because when you see a Blight smashing his head into the wall multiple times, it's either a bad player or it's going to be a player that's about to fuck your ass up. And you never know. But he doesn't feel too overpowered. So even with his high mobility, it still feels, you know, like there's good plays you can do, from what I see and shit. And I mean, that my opinion on that might change when the, you know, chapter comes out fully in a couple days, but we'll see on that. His perks, they look pretty average, but they look fun to use. I can't remember them exactly off the top of my head, but I've seen that they're, you know, some good builds that can be used in. And with perks, it's always just like, I think if they're more fun to use and not over fucking powered, is like the better option. Like Nick Cage's perks, you know, they're not some of the strongest perks in the game, but they're fun to use. So I think overall that's a better thing than how some people have, where a killer or a survivor perks are, you know, aren't top tier, and it's just like I will say, with this totem one, I do hope they kind of decrease the 8 basic attacks to activate, because that just seems a little bit too high for a hex perk, because it can activate and it can also quickly get taken out. So that's something I kind of hope that they kind of change when it launches. But his voice actor coming back is awesome. Really, honestly, I think Kanki for both the Japanese and English dubs were amazing picks. So it's really cool that he's getting back. And I know some people have complained about how noisy he is. I like it, but I really enjoy Kanki, and to me, it's not Kanki if he's not fucking freaking out and screaming. So, you know, and I guess the last little bit is just his, the Mori, so good. I feel the last several Moris have been just so good. Like, I think since I would say the Singularity, who came after Singularity? I think Singularity and the Unknown, since then, the fucking Moris have been so good, like top tier Moris in my opinion. So that looks amazing. Especially the several different, the little bit of references we get, especially to Jason and Conky's torture with the 1000-7, and the kind of stabbing through the limbs and shit, similar to Jason. Like that's all really cool. And of course the finger break, but you know, overall, yeah, I think it's really cool. I can get why some people don't, especially people who aren't, people who are like, oh, anime, manga, EU, or like don't really care for it. I could kind of see why they're not the most excited or happy. But it's my opinions. Everybody has them. In my opinion, I think it's really good. He looks really good. He looks like Konki. He looks like he fits in look wise to DBD still. So yeah. But yeah. I can't wait for him to drop, And so with that, my rambling, my little yap fuck. My little yap sesh, there we go, is done. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Just thought it'd be a nice little short, fun video to make. Just get my opinion on, since I've been seeing people, So, yeah. So, hope you guys enjoy. Have a good day or night. And bye.
He took my arm. Rawr.